Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial I'm going to be sharing with you how to cut this stylish bustier gown with a side gathers. So if this is something you like, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. So let's dive right into today's video. So first I'm going to start off by marking my basic measurements, which includes my shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, and shoulder to waistline for the meantime. So later we'll be drafting out the lower part of this dress. Next we'll be moving up to the upper part, where I'll mark my shoulder divided by 2 and I will come down by 1 inch. From that point I'm going to place my ruler and I'm going to connect. Next I'll be marking out a basic neckline of 3 by 3 inches. So next I'm going to find my chest line, which is my bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches, and I will rule a straight line at that point. What I have at the shoulder, which is my shoulder divided by 2, I'm going to mark it here. Then go ahead to place my ruler and I'm going to draw a straight line. After I'm done doing that, I'm just going to go ahead to divide what I have here into 2, and I'll come in by ½ inch. And at this point I'm going to mark my bust circumference divided by 4. My bust is 33 divided by 4. I have roughly 8.3. I'm going to connect from my armhole all the way to the ½ inch and to the upper part of my shoulder. After I'm done doing that, I'll just go ahead and use my marker to outline this, but we won't be using this part of the pattern. So the next step you're going to take is to mark your nipple to nipple divided by 2. Mine is 7 inches divided by 2. I have 3.5. Now I'm going to mark this all the way down to the lower part of my pattern, and after my waistline I will be coming down by 4 inches, but I will be extending that line much later because you're going to need it for the lower part of your pattern. So next I will be marking my dart intake of 1 inch on both sides. So for a plus size you can use 1.5 inches, and after that I'm going to come down by 4 inches after my waistline. Now I'll connect all the way to that point and also connect at the other side of my dart. So next I'm just going to go ahead to place my ruler and I'm going to connect this all the way to my under bust. Use my marker to connect this all the way down and also connect at the other side. So next I'm going to go ahead to extend my nipple to nipple line all the way down to the lower part of my pattern. So the total length of my dress is 35 inches. Now I will mark that my nipple to nipple all the way down to the lower part of my dress. So next I'm going to go ahead to connect from the bust down to the under bust, and also repeat the same process at the other side. Connect from the bust down to the under bust. Then I'll just go ahead to use my marker to connect this. After I'm done doing that, I will be marking where I want the upper part of my dress to start. So to mark that, I'm going to place my tape and I'll measure 2 inches above my chest line. And after I'm done marking that, I'll just go ahead to place my ruler and I'm going to draw a straight line at that point. So next I'll be marking my nipple to nipple divided by 2 and I'll go ahead to connect. And after I'm done doing that, I will be marking 1 inch on both sides of my pattern. Go ahead to connect this and also connect at the other side of my pattern. And after I'm done doing that, I'll just go ahead and I will outline this part of my pattern. So the next step I'm going to take from here is to insert my measurement. I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake I have there, replace, and add my sewing allowance. So you can add 1.5 to 2.5 inches. So at the under bust, I'll mark my under bust circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, replace it, and add my sewing allowance. At the waistline, I'll go ahead and mark my waist circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, replace, and add my sewing allowance. Going down to the lower part, I'll go ahead to mark my hip point. And to mark my hip point is 7 inches from my waistline, or you can use 8 inches if you're a much taller person. So I'll just go ahead and I will draw out my hip point. So at the hip point, you're going to be inserting your hip measurement divided by 4. My hip is 40 divided by 4. I have 10. And I'll go ahead to add my sewing allowance. So I'll be using 1.5 inches for my sewing allowance also. So after I'm done doing that, whatever I have at the hip, that is what I will mark at the lower part of my pattern. And then I'm going to go ahead to place my ruler and connect all the dots that I have made. After I'm done connecting, I'll go ahead to use my marker to reconnect it. So now to work on the cup, I'm just going to draw a straight line at this point and then go ahead to take it all the way to the lower part this way. So this is what I have basically at this part, and at the chest line I went up by ½ inch a bit because I don't want my armhole to be too visible. So now to mark out the lower part of this dress, I'm going to come down by 2 inches or 1.5 inches from my waistline. At this point, I'm going to either come down by 5 inches or 5.5, and I'll go ahead to draw this out. So this is what I have at this point. Now at the center, I'm just going to use my nipple to nipple line divided by 2, and I'll use it all the way down. So I'll measure what I have here. I have roughly 8.3 inches, and I'll go ahead to divide this into 4. So I'll be marking 2 inches on the pattern, and the last one will be 8.3. So you can decide to cut yours more than this because this is a slash and spread method that we are using for the side of the dress. So if you decide to cut yours into 5, 6, it is still okay. You're going to still use it to achieve the same purpose you want to for the dress. So after cutting it, I'll just go ahead to label this, and I will be outlining it with my marker so that you know the part that is going for each side before misplacing it. So after I'm done cutting out, this is what I have, and we are going to go ahead to cut this out and then move over to the back pattern. So at this point, if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up, and if you also have a question, please do leave it at the comment section. You can also go ahead to follow my second YouTube channel, which is Draft with Maki. There we do pattern illustration and drafting. So after I'm done cutting out this pattern, I'll just go ahead and I will slash this at those lines that I marked already. So moving over to the back pattern, I've gone ahead to mark out all my basic measurements, and I added a zipper at the front because this dress has a zipper. That's the only difference between the front measurement and the back measurement. So for my zipper allowance, I'm using 1.5 inches. You can use 1.5 inches to 2 inches. So here's my chest line, my bust line, my waistline, my hip point, which is 7 inches from my waistline. So after that, I'll just go ahead to mark out my dart. So all the measurements I'm taking is starting immediately after the zipper line. So I'll be marking my nipple to nipple divided by 2, and after my waistline, I went down by 4 inches. Now I'll place my curved rule or my ruler, and I'm going to draw a straight line starting from the bust down to that 4 inches, and I'll mark ½ inch on both sides of my pattern, come down by 1 inch from my bust, and I'm going to extend my dart all the way up, and also repeat this at the other side of my pattern this way. So after I'm done doing that, I'll be inserting my body measurements. So to start, I'm going to mark my bust circumference divided by 4 on this point, and I'll add my sewing allowance. Remember, all my measurements start immediately after the zipper, and I will be adding 1.5 inches for my sewing allowance. You can use 1.5 inches to 2.5. Here I'll mark my waist circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, and I will replace it, and then go ahead to add my sewing allowance. At the hip point, I'm going to mark my hip circumference divided by 4, and I will be adding my sewing allowance there. So whatever I have on the hip, I'm going to take it all the way down, and after that I'll just go ahead and I will connect all my patterns or all the lines that I have marked already. So after marking that at the chest line, I'll come down by ½ inch, and I will go ahead to connect this all the way up. This is to avoid my pattern from popping up at the zipper area. And after that, the next step I'll take is to take out the zipper bulge at the back. I'll go in by ½ inch, and I will be extending this all the way to the upper part of my zipper line, and I will take this all the way to the hip point. So you can stop at the hip or go down by ½ inch from the zipper line. Now I'll just go ahead to extend all my lines and reconnect the zipper part of my dress. So this is what I have after I'm done marking out, and I'm just going to go ahead to work on the sides of this dress. Now to work on the side, I'm going to come down by 1.5 inches or 2 inches, just like we did for the front, and here I'll come down immediately after the dart line, or I'll still place my tape and I'll measure that same 5 inches. I will reconnect. So now I'll just go ahead and use my marker to outline this. After I'm done lining or marking this out, I'll go ahead and also mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2 at this point, and I'll go ahead to take this all the way down to my pattern paper, just like we did for the front part, and I'm going to place this and rule a straight line at this point, and I'll be taking it all the way to the lower part of my pattern. So after this, I'll still go ahead and make use of the slash and spread method, just like I said for the front part. Also, I'll be sharing this with these 2 inches. So this 2 inches is not a standard. You're just going to measure what you have there and then go ahead to divide it. So you can decide to use 2 inches to divide yours, or you can make yours smaller. The main aim of this is just to slash and spread it on a dress to get more gathers or ruffle on that part of your dress. So I'll just go ahead to mark this out, and I'll also go ahead to label it so that I don't misplace my pattern. So now I'm just going to go ahead to cut this out because I am done drafting it. So at this point, if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up, leave your comment at the comment section, and if you have any question, please go ahead and leave it also at the comment section. Thanks.